Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. So this is video number 2 in a series of 3 videos where I'm reviewing these 3 lenses by Canon. So they're all mirrorless lenses, so RF, to match with the Canon R6. The first one is a 70-200 2.8. The second one, which I've reviewed already, is a 24-70 2.8 as well. And this beast of a lens is the one we're going to be reviewing today, the RF 85mm 1.2. So you may think, why are we reviewing 3 lenses? Because I've had them for 14 days. And this is a great tip for you guys because it's free. So Canon actually lets you test lenses for normally 48 hours. So you order it online, there's a deposit in case something happens to the lens, it's stolen or broken. And then a delivery guy comes to your room with a Pelican case, you open the case, the lenses are there, you can trial them for 48 hours, and then the guy comes and picks them up again. So totally free for you guys. And why 14 days? It's not that I'm sponsored by Canon in any way, I wish I was. It's basically over this Christmas, they had a 14-day free trial of any equipment. So there's cameras on there, there's speed lights on there, lenses, like anything that you want to trial by Canon. And then at the end of it, you actually get a discount to buy it. Infomercial over. So 14 days with these 3 lenses. And at the last video, which is tomorrow, of the 70-200, I'll tell you guys which one I would buy. This here is the Rolls-Royce of prime lenses for me. It is fabulous, disclaimer alert. And let's start with physical appearance. So, well, actually, physical weight. This thing comes in at a whopping 1.2 kilograms, so 1195 basically, but 1.2 kilograms. This is a heavy lens. It's a well-constructed lens, so it does have some plastic inserts, but it's basically metal surrounded by plastic. It is heavy. It looks like a tank. I think you could throw this at the wall or something and it still wouldn't break. It basically has 2 rings on it. So your focus ring, which is focused by wire, so it's not mechanically attached to anything, and your control ring. So the control ring is something very specific to Canon mirrorless cameras and the new RF lenses, where you're able to control almost anything you want because you can configure it in the camera with it. It comes by default for exposure, but you can do aperture, you can do shutter speed, you can even do ISO. And I find it, especially in these lenses where it's close by to the other ring, it's easy to use. Where in some lenses it's kind of far away, your muscle memory just doesn't go there. And in the case of prime lenses, given I'm using autofocus quite a lot with the R6, it's the only thing I can change really on the lens. So I kind of use it more in these prime lenses than I would on the zoom lenses for some reason. It comes with 2 switches. So it comes with the autofocus manual focus switch and this one, which allows you to limit the autofocus. So it can be full, so the full length of the autofocus, or it can be as of 1.5 meters to infinity. So when it's struggling for focus, this will limit it to start at 1.5. So this is what you get in the box, plus this lens hood that attaches here to the front. So this is it. So let's just see in terms of size. This is a comparison versus, well, all the lenses on the table. So you'll see that from a height point of view, it's pretty much in line with the zoom lenses, both in older 24-105 f4, but also with the newer RF 2470 and slightly lower than the 70-200. But all of these are considered pretty compact. The only thing I would compare it to is what I had as definition of prime lenses, which were, well, this is a 50mm 1.4. And you can see like the difference in size. This is massive compared to these smaller prime lenses that I was used to with my Canon 70D. So I used to have a 40mm, a 35mm. They were all pancake lenses, and even this 50 was probably the biggest of them. But look at this. It also has a massive filter size. So this is 85mm from end to end. Not that that matters, but like especially when you're taking pictures of people, some can be kind of scared about the size of this thing. But anyway, that's a minor point. So what I wanted to share with you guys is what I love and what I don't love as much about this lens. So a proper review. Here you go, mounted on the R6. It's manageable. I know it is 1.2 kilos, but I really haven't felt, especially with the R6, because the R6 is a pretty light camera, I haven't felt it to be overwhelming, for example, versus the older, like longer focal length lenses on the Canon 70D, like mounting a 70-200 of older days of EF lenses. So why do I love this lens? So there's a reason I'm calling it the Rolls-Royce of any prime that I've tried. This is amazing. And there's three things I would kind of highlight about it. The first thing is the picture sharpness. This is razor sharp. This is like the best optic probably I've ever had on a camera. The pictures coming out of it are razor sharp. Absolutely love it. Much more than the 24-70 or 70-200. However, given they are pretty sharp, you do have to zoom. I mean, I'm going into Lightroom and I'm really looking into details of the pictures coming out of this. The second thing is the bokeh, the depth of field. So 1.2 is really something special. It's something that, for example, with these other lenses that I've had from Canon that go down to 2.8, I'm not able to do that razor sharp depth of field. It gets to a point where I was doing some portraits, and just by having the person incline their face a little bit, I would have one eye in focus and the other eye completely out of focus. So this allows you to bring like an extra layer of creativity to what you want to do in your photography, especially blurring backgrounds, blurring foregrounds, like making sure that special point of the image in focus and where you want the person's eye to go comes to exactly that place. So you have to be very careful with it on where you are focusing it, because that will be the thing that is sharp. Everything else will have this wonderful bokeh effect, which this camera does, this lens does, and I haven't seen it in many others. And then the last one is because of the quantity of light that can go into this lens, the low light photography possibilities are amazing. Like I've been taking some pictures in near darkness with this, and one, the camera isn't pumping up the ISO so much because of the light that this allows to enter, and it's still extremely sharp. So definitely taking pictures in low light with this lens is something I would recommend. Now, what would I improve on it? There's actually 4 things, in spite of me calling this a Rolls-Royce of primes, that I would improve on it. One is the minimal focus length. So it's 85 centimeters or 0.85 meters, the minimal focus length of it. So you have to be at least 85 centimeters away from your subject. Why is that a limitation? I've been taking quite a lot of portraits with this where I'm trying to get up close to the people in the action. I could do that in crop, obviously, so I could go a little bit longer, but I've been doing portraits of kids, which do not stop. So they've been coming closer or further away to me, and there's a lot of pictures I've been losing because of that minimum 85 centimeters. So when you have other lenses that can do much less, so for example, this one can do 20 centimeters or 35 in telephoto, why would a prime lens like this have that minimum focus so long, especially being the Rolls-Royce of primes? Number 2 is lens stabilization. So when you match this with a camera like the R6 that has stabilization in camera, you do get some stabilization already. And especially since it's not such a long focal length, maybe you don't need that much stabilization. But even so, at this price point, why wouldn't you have stabilization in the camera, which would allow you to then go even to lower light situations and just handhold it? And then the last thing is probably the cost of it. So this one comes in at a whopping £2,799 in the UK, which is quite a sizable chunk of money for a lens. I mean, that is the cost of nearly the whole system of an R6 plus the kit lens, for comparison. And I know, like we always say, have the best lens and then upgrade the cameras as you go along so you can have a worse camera with a better lens. Even so, this is a prime lens at that type of price point. So who is this lens for? I think it is for somebody that can do, this is like the best at what it does. I've never seen a lens that can perform like this one. However, because of the cost, it's for a very specific photographer, I think, that is looking after something very, very special. For example, I will probably go to a more generalist lens, one of the other two, or even some other type of prime lens, simply because I don't see myself, call it the ROI concept, the return on investment. The return on investment of such an expensive lens for my workflow. I think you really have to consider what you're doing before getting into this lens and making sure that you're taking the most advantage of what it has to offer. Voila, guys, that's my review of the Canon RF 85mm 1.2. I hope you guys like it. If you do, hit that like button. If you like all the reviews, hit the subscribe. There's more tips of the R6 and some more reviews coming in. And till next time, guys. See you later. Bye.